Well, good morning, everybody. This is the Air Restore webinar that we have just started, and this is really still a learning curve for us. So, if we have bobbles, please excuse that. But I think we've got some really interesting things to talk about. I will tell the panel members that I need you to mute because every little sound that you have in the background is coming through, and so that's good and bad because just remember that when you talk, that we have to unmute from each other. So with a new format, we're really only going to have 3 or 4 speakers at a time on. This morning, I've asked Cher Weinrauch to be one of our panelists, and Ken and Mary Dockery are one of our panelists, and Lori, you're our fourth. Gagowski, and I hope I pronounced that right because I always call you Lori, and so I'm not sure. And you're the fourth panelist that we have on. And today we're going to talk strictly about the business and not the product so much, because as I get deeper and deeper into comparing ourselves with other companies out there and look at the marketing plan from the standpoint of what a jewel it really is, I realize that we've kept it hidden under a basket for far, far too long, that this thing that we have got really has some features about it. And rather than bore everybody with getting into a deep discussion of the technicalities of the marketing plan, I want to do some broad brush kinds of things here in the beginning. And, I asked the panelists kind of to think about marketing plans in general and network marketing in general, and about the things that people like and don't like about the plan. And Ken, I know I asked you to come up with a couple things, and Cher, I'll ask you the same thing as well. What is it people hate most about network marketing plans, just in general? You need to unmute.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
I think the uncertainty of it, I think people have a fear of what they don't understand. And so most marketing plans are so complex that people never figure them out. They're kind of at the mercy of whomever's doing it. And the simplicity of this marketing plan, in my opinion, is the key. It's the real strength of it. And when you can teach somebody how to go out and do a 3x3 and earn essentially $800 a month, that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah.
I think we're going to talk about residual income a little bit later on, Bill, but there are 2 things that motivate people. First of all, I told Mary a long time ago, I said, $20 bills is a lot of money when you don't have any. and people tend to talk about, $50,000 or $100,000 or $200,000 a year. People need to earn an extra $800 or $1,000 a month can change their lives.
Well, I know it can, and you hit on a real point, the simplicity of the plan. It has to be something that people can conceive of doing. Cher, what about you? You've been thinking about it for a little bit. What are the things that people really don't like about typical network plans?
Well, I think a lot of people have such preconceived notions from years and years and years of other companies having tainted what people's perspective or reality of what network marketing is all about. So lots of times you get people, with their arms folded the whole time you're talking to them because they've got these preconceived notions. And I think the biggest challenge sometimes we have is overcoming the networking fear when we're sharing our opportunity with people.
And is there not an embarrassment that a lot of people feel when they tell somebody that they're in network marketing? Yes. that you feel like that if you're approaching people that you're not really terribly proud necessarily of what it is you're doing. You're quite often asking them to buy an overpriced product or do something to help you rather than really offering them something that's going to truly help them. Now, the product may help them and the business may help them, but I think that's something that's very uncomfortable for a lot of people as well. Ken, when we were talking earlier, about the financial aspects of it as well, the idea of getting some early results, I think, is one of the things that I heard people say, is that everybody gets involved in these things and there's the promise of money, but nothing ever happens. How important is it that people really get to see something happen early?
Well, it validates the whole thing. You know, if I can do it, you can do it, literally, and that's simply going back to the 3x3. Understanding that that's the building block, that's the foundation. When somebody can earn an extra, essentially $1,000 or $800 a month by doing a 3x3, then they can teach the 3x3. That makes it real, Bill. That's spendable income. You know, we'll have a $130 check in the mail probably Monday, and you know, when you take that to the bank, you can spend that. It's not some hope in the future. It's not some Caribbean cruise. It's not some big deal that people never realize. It's the fact that, hey, the simplicity of this thing is if I got 3 friends that will just try this overnight, chances are all 3 of them are going to participate to some level. And you know, that's a real key. That's immediate success, and it's totally duplicatable. And if you can do it once, Bill, you can do it every month. You can do it on and on and on, which here again gives us the residual effect that we're talking about.
Yes, it does. So let's talk about the basic building block. I think that our basic building block is actually the 3x3. 3 people getting 3 people getting 3 people. And I want to go back and focus on that, because that's something everybody can understand. It's something that we need to help people really understand, because that accomplishes a lot of what we just talked about. It gives people really early income. It gives people conviction that they are involved in something good, because not only is the product working, which is absolutely essential, it's something that is not an embarrassment because it's not overpriced, it's retail competitive. But more than that, the business and sharing the business with people is something that really they not only can be proud of, but that it is going to continue to help us later on when I share something with you when it comes to what the residual is about. So let's just kind of walk through this basic building block. If I were to teach everybody how to present the plan, I think I would teach it with this page, and that's it. I mean, if everybody doesn't go any farther than this page until they really have had some success, I think that we would be there. And if we remember very simply what we went through last time, very fundamental kind of a business. Number one, and when you do the business, you're never selling the product. You don't need to sell the product. The last thing you try to do is to sell the product. What you're doing is sharing the product. And that means that you go to people with the most simplistic idea that you possibly can do. You don't have to know what Bill Converse or now Mark Converse knows. You don't need to know all of those things. What you need to know is one simple thing. This is a great company. They pay a lot of money out. I earn money doing this. And on top of that, this product does some phenomenal things. And I want you to try the product and tell me whether I'm out of my mind or not. You know, it's something very simple, basic kind of thing like that. And they say, well, what does it do? What does it do? Well, I don't know. Share, what is it that it does?
Oh, Bill, you did it to me.
It restores the energy
back into the air to make the indoor air act like outdoor air.
I will get you trained at some point. But seriously, you have to get that. That has to become an instinctive reaction to what it does, because it gets you out of the sell mode and gets you into the share mode and to share the product. Do it for 24 hours. Don't do it for a long period of time. Ask for the results. Ask them to tell you what it did for them, not you telling what it did for you, because once they think about what it did for them and realize it in 24 hours, they got some kind of a change, maybe not 100%, but you basically are getting them committed to recognizing that it did something for them. And then fourth, you offer them the alternative. And I always offer them the alternative. You know, if you really like the product, I can show you how you can make some money. If you don't think it worked, would it work a lot better if it were free? You know, you can ask them all kinds of ways to do it, and then encourage them once they do that. If you can show them how that they can make it free, they can get it for free, and you tell them how you're going to do that, and plan on enrolling everybody into the company. Now, there are going to be people that you're just going to approach from a retail standpoint. I understand that. But if your mindset is first and foremost that there is no difference between enrolling a person into the company or getting them to be a retail customer, that the reward is the same for you, the additional reward by having the potential of that person doing more than being a customer so overwhelms any reason not to get them to be a customer. My first reaction is to get everybody to be. And then you kind of go through this very quickly. When people say, well, how do I get it for free? And then you say, well, the first thing you have to do is give me $399 and just get past the fact that if you're going to get something for free, you still have to invest something. But you get it for free by investing it for $399. And then how do you make any money? Well, duplicate what I'm doing. Want you to go out and share the product with one person and enroll them. When you do that, you get $130. When you enroll the second one, you get another $130. And by the way, that's mailbox money. That comes the very next day. The time lapse in there is so short. And then the third one is going to be for another $130. That's $390. You're now down $9. And when that happens without you realizing it, what has just happened, that you get a free whole house system, whether you want one or not. It's going to come to you, no charge, no freight, no tax, not even going to appear on your 1099. It is a gift for doing the right thing by enrolling somebody. And if that is not a free system in there somewhere, I don't know what is. And so that's kind of the whole idea of it. The fact, this whole system right here, this step one of the 3x3 is how every single person should be able to duplicate, to be able to build something that's duplicatable. If people do not ever go beyond this step, that's okay. Because what you're doing when you're building the organization is making sure that this takes place and that you are now helping people duplicate that process in the second and third levels, and that's all there really is to the business. Now, why is this so important? Because everybody that comes into the business that has this experience has now got the basis for an ongoing business, something that will go on and on, over and over again, that is very duplicatable. That's the key. That's the key to the business and being able to start to get the kinds of incomes that you really need to have. So we've talked about the 3x3. I want to just talk about what do you get out of the 3x3, because there are some pitfalls, and we're not going to go deeply into those pitfalls today, but let's just talk about, hopefully I can get the second one up here. Wrong one. Got to find the right one. Okay. Let's talk about why you want to build a 3x3. Building a 3x3 is the fastest and best way to do it. Now, I've had some people talk to me as I've been out in the field about how to grow your 3x3. Do you try to get your best 3 people? Yes, you do. You try to get your best 3 people, sponsor them, teach them to do exactly what you did, get them to get their best 3 people, and you build the organization from the top down. You do not stack people. You do not put people under people. And we've got some very family-oriented groups that like to put their people that they know and make family businesses. That's all good. Somebody asked me the other day, well, what if I've got 6 good people? Okay, start 2 3s. But remember, you have to focus on getting one started faster than the other. Doesn't mean that you can't put 6 or 12 together. There's all kinds of ways to do it. But let's talk about the advantage of doing it. The advantage for doing it, of course, is that you need to be able There I go. I'll get it right here. Yep. So the important thing is that as you build your 3x3, what you're doing is each month you are doing enough volume to essentially qualify yourself as a sales manager every single month. But you're only doing it with 3 people at a time, so it is not an impossible kind of thing to do. You're basically able to build and build very quickly by just focusing on getting 3 people yourself. That's your recruiting portion. And then you change your mode into that of a leader. And a leader is a person who helps the 3 people that they got duplicate successfully what they did. And we've been through this a couple of times, and we'll go through it again at a later time. But I just want to refresh everybody's memory about how this system works, because the rewards are very significant. So the whole thing is that while you're building in that very first month, outside of the fact that you get a reward for your recruiting bonuses and your first experience bonuses, that I call them, in these first 3 people. And then after that, your rewards kind of go downstream if you are not a sales manager, because in that first month, when you are building that first your first R3, you are going to get commissions, but you're not going to get very many commissions, because you're not a sales manager, you're not a distributor yet. You're just building, and you have to invest when you build and when you build. But as we've been through these things, and we have seen that when we that obviously when you're building your business.
Looking for your pen?
Yeah, I thought I had it and I lost it. But when you're building the business, it depends on how people are coming in, whether they're getting in with basic enrollment packs or senior dealer pro packs. But you do enough business with those first 40 people that you have in your organization to at least promote yourself to Fast Start Distributor. But if you're a real builder, you can get up to the possibility with the half and half sales. You're going to get into the position of building that first first month sales manager qualification, and that's what you're really trying to do to be able to get up there. So that first month income for a builder is not so high. With retail, it's not so high with bonuses. It's a matter of making an investment and helping people become successful, because that's where you're going to want to go. And so then as we move up from there, that once you have built that group, I got a picture out of here. When you see went too far, when you build an open group, and you are a sales manager, and now you build your next group, because that's going to be the target of people, is to build open group 3x3s every single month. And every single month when you do that, you are going to find that you're going to earn commissions, recruiting bonuses, commissions on your people that get senior dealer pro packs, on the people down in the organization that get senior dealer pro packs, and less amount on the people that are getting just basic enrollment kits. But it's basically a $5,000 income. What I'm saying very quickly here is that the advantage of doing a 3x3 and focusing on the 3x3 is to, number one, get to sales manager. Number two, once you are there, the economic advantage of every single month building a 3x3 is starting out to be simply a matter of about $5,000 a month. That's an income without regard for what the rest of your group that you sponsored in the previous month did, without regard for any retail that's taking place, without regard for any residual that's taking place, without regard for anything else. It's a basic amount of about $4,000, $5,000 simply as a reward for building a 3x3 every month. And if you're successful in teaching that, you're going to find that the groups that you sponsor, as the people that you sponsor became sales managers, and the ones that they sponsor become sales managers, and you finally go 3 levels down, 3 generations down, you should expect to get your open group volume, as you can see, continuing to provide an income of about your $5,000 income. You're going to see that the people that are in your level 1, These people, if they were sales managers, are going to produce an income of about $3,000 because you're going to get 8% of them. There's only 3 of them because you've only built one 3x3 at this point. But in level 2, you're going to get about 5,000. On level 3, you're going to get 14,000 PV at about 2% or 7,500. That's $20,000 a month. Okay, $20,000 a month by simply teaching people to build R3s if they're going to be leaders, to build the first step of the level 3, of the 3x3, if they are first level. That's the whole idea of the business. $20,000 a month is a lot of money, and it puts you in way above in the top end. That's $250,000 a year by my estimation. That is a lot of money. But let me just share, if we're successful and you go down those 7 levels, as we've talked about before, look what happens on level 4, level 5, level 6, level 7, because this is where the sales manager marketing plan goes. It allows for seven generations deep, and as you see, the percentage drops each month that you get, but the number of people that you get continues to increase. And this plan has a potential, with people doing absolute minimums, of producing $150,000 a month, $150,000 a month income. Now that puts people in way beyond the top 1%, and it's physically doable. It's quite practical in doing it. But here's one of the problems. Everybody that I know of has put numbers like these on the board. I mean, you don't have a marketing plan that proves that you don't make any money. You have a marketing plan that proves that there is an upside potential and that people can do it. So you have to test it. Is it possible? Can people do it? Is it possible for people, number one, to get $20,000 a month on their open groups? And on not their open groups, but their first 3 groups. Well, I can tell you that people are already getting in that area of between 14 and 20,000 in our organization, providing that they continue to do the 3x3 in their own group. I was working with Sherry Yassi this last week a lot, and looking at her group and how her group has grown and how many people she has got in her group. And she was the very first one that started out being kind of our guinea pig, doing this 3x3. And what she found was that exactly what we said, that she produced in her first month as sales manager. She produced incomes of $14,000 a month just by helping people duplicate the 3x3. And now she is back rebuilding her own group to get wide, because this plan requires people to get wide. This plan requires people to be faithful, consistent, dedicated, focused on building 3x3s. And if you build 3x3s, the reward is there. Now, I've also recently run into an awful lot of people that have said, that's a lot of work. And I'll be the first to tell you, it is a lot of work. Anybody that thinks that this is easy to do has not tried to do it, or they've listened to too many people putting plans on a board and not really telling people that it's a lot of work. But it's simple work, because you do not have to have any special skills as a manager. What you have to have is you got to like people. I mean, if you don't like people, don't be a manager. Don't go into the people business. But if you like people and you want to help people, this is a plan that rewards people for being successful, for helping other people. It is the only plan that I have seen that allows people to be successful by making other people truly successful, instead of hoping that they fail in the process someplace along the way. So I'm very proud of this portion of the plan. But the other thing that they tell me, the one that I wanted really to address mostly today, is the idea of residual. They say, yes, it's a nice plan, but there's no residual. And how many, Ken and Mary, how often have you heard that?
Well, you hear it all the time, because people look for the weak spot. They look for an excuse, really, is what they look for. And what's interesting about this is that the residual effect of it is the 3x3.
Exactly.
You know, they can always go back and earn, $700-800 a month, and that's huge. I was just doing some numbers based on residual income. I've believed for years that people don't put proper value. They don't evaluate their business properly. But in today's market, if you could get 1.5%, which you can't get, but if you could get 1.5% on a CD, you'd have to have $3 million in the bank to earn $3,750 a month.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Bill, that's virtually impossible for most people. But if they do it through people, through building a business, then the residual effect, the income effect is the same thing without having that great, huge asset, which really means that your business becomes that asset, doesn't it? If an asset produces that kind of revenue, then the asset has the value.
Oh, it truly does. And, people focus on that about, because the idea is you want to find something that is going to build something that's going to be permanent, and having something that has a residual characteristic is pretty important. Cher, what do you hear?
The very same thing with people maybe having been involved in other companies with all kinds of, fancy binary plans and structures, and they try to pick everything apart. But Bill, I think you've done an excellent job of clearly laying this out in this visual graphic for us that can stop the naysayers saying, oh, what you have never can work. Well, here it is, black and white.
Well, absolutely. And I heard some interesting comments. I do enjoy being on a call like this, but I also enjoy being out in the field and just hearing people share things one-on-one. And I was sitting at a table with some sales managers and some leaders up in New Jersey, and the subject came up about residual. And Sherry asked everybody to do one simple thing that I would ask everybody on this call to do, whether they think about doing it or do it out loud. Ask yourself, who do you know that has ever gotten residual income that amounted to anything for a year after they had introduced somebody and sold a product? In other words, that's the whole idea. When people start talking about residuals and consumables and things like that, the idea is if you get somebody using a product, they're going to use it for the rest of their life. And it was so interesting because as we looked around the table and said, okay, how about anybody that got it for a few months? And the typical lifetime of a consumable residual is only 3 months. Because as one person pointed out, I bought the product and I knew it was really a little bit overpriced, but I wanted to help my friend. That's what network marketing is all about. But after 2 or 3 months, I realized I was paying $150 a month on to help this person out buying a product that I could get for $15 at the store. And finally, I said, I'm going to quit. And somebody else came along and said, well, I quit because I had another friend that come along and wanted some help from them, so I dropped one and picked up the other one. So where is the consumable as a product base? It's a myth. It doesn't really happen. It's one of those things that happens theoretically and not in real time, and doesn't go on for very long. And I've always believed that our marketing plan had a residual component because I've seen it. And we've done some things to make this plan very, very much a residual without necessarily a consumable, a monthly consumable product. Because if you think about what it is, our residual is the business. Mm-hmm. Our residual is the experience that people have when they have been involved with Air Restore. From the very beginning is when they've been able to make money. Our residual is based on people having something that most companies don't give them, and that is a real business with a real product where they are treated and rewarded for the activities that they do, and not on some kind of a plan that only rewards a few people at the top. And I say that those people that we have in our organization are the valuable commodity. They are the biggest asset that we have because they are going to stay with us. And so let's just kind of talk about some of the kinds of things that we have put into the plan that have really helped us create this environment. So let's just think about how our plan works and why people are going to stay with us. Cher, what typically would you say most network companies force people to pay in order to be able to keep their position? What's the monthly amount of outflow that most companies have?
Oh, well, I really don't know the specific answer, but I'm going to just go back to something I'm familiar with in my past. And it would cost me about, if I had to reinvent myself every month just to keep everything going, about $1,000.
I would say that's probably a little on the high side. Ken and Mary, what do you think?
I'd say $250 to to $300. But the fact is that that's almost a forced purchase, Bill. It's like, if I'm going to continue to do this, then I have to continue to purchase products that, like you said, I can go buy cheaper down the street, or, we've got this thing called the internet.
Yeah.
It's amazing what you can find on the internet and get free shipping with.
Yep.
That's a temptation that everybody goes through, because when there are financial hard times, when people don't have the cash flow that they're accustomed to, then they've got to be better stewards of what they do have. So consequently, they're always looking for a better deal. And you talk about residual income. It's almost impossible to build a residual income based on consumables, as we've always known, because of the marketplace. The marketplace has changed.
Yep.
And people are changing with that, just like we're doing here today.
Well, I maintain that the biggest thing that we have going is creating the environment so that our company becomes the residual, your business becomes the residual value asset, is the fact that, number one, we don't nickel dime people to death. When you join this company, you have joined it. You are a member of this company, and we're not going to charge you every single month to hold your position. We're going to reward you when you do something by paying commissions, but that's up to you. That's not up to us. And so we do that. We give you the tools to work with. How many companies are out there that give you a replicated website? Let me give you a statistic. I will tell you that this last month, in every store, 20% of the last day's volume in this company were people buying product at retail through somebody's replicated website. Wow. That's an amazing statistic. That means people now have a business that they can run in their home without carrying massive amounts of inventory, getting the company to do all of the work on filing the tax returns, getting the product shipped out, doing all of that stuff for them. And of course, we charge the customer for that, but they get the retail profit the next day. We talk an awful lot about getting that recruiting bonus the next day. Those people also get the retail profit check of $130 on every one of those whole house systems that went out the door the very next day as well. So, and so that creates an environment where people can do this business whenever, however, how often they want to do it, and create an environment. So that's number one. The fact that we have, from the day one, decided that we are going to build big organizations, and those people are going to stay in those organizations rather than leave and come back again. Second thing that I think is the driving force is that the fact that we have got something called an R3. And if you only expect people to do one thing, that's all they're going to do. And if you expect them to do more than one, they may do two, but then there has to be a reward. And I think the fact that R3 program, getting people to do 3x3s and having it tie in with the 3x3, for example, is huge. Lori, I think I've got your microphone unmuted now. I'm going to ask you a question. Hopefully you can answer it, because I know you've been with us for a while now, and you have just committed to starting doing the 3x3. And I think you just ended up completing a 3x3, did you not?
Uh-oh.
There you are. Oh no! Try seeing if you're on. See if you're still muted. Oh, we got a little communication problem, Lori. Sorry. I'll tell a story anyway. I'll tell it because there you are.
No, no, that's share. The left bottom screen has got a mute button, Lori. See if you can unmute that. You did? Okay.
Yep. So it's she's had trouble with mute buttons before. She has mute buttonitis. We're going to get that straightened out this next time. Let me tell you how important it was, because now Lori's been with us for a while and she's done a lot of retailing products. She loves to retail the product, but now she's gone out and she recruited 3 people, and now she's gotten mailbox money. And I have talked to her, and I've talked to her husband. She really likes mailbox money. I can tell you that. Nothing gets a grin on her faster than saying mailbox money. But now she got an R3, and that getting that R3 drives people to do the business. How much does it drive to do the business? I just quoted you the statistic for what people did last month in the organization with the retail sales through the website. Let me tell you, I also took a look to see how many people completed their R3 on the last day of the month. And I can tell that because I can look at our system and I can see how many free R3s were ordered on the last day of the month. And I can tell you 1/5 of all of the orders that we had for the last day of the month, which is always huge, went to earners of the R3. See, that shows people that now there's an incentive. If you're going to do 1, you're going to do 2, and you're going to do 3. I think when you add all those things up so that you've got people doing what you want them to do, share the product, introduce the product, and do that for you, then you've got a reason for people to come back. Now, here's another rule that I know from sales, of all kinds of sales. People are never going to stay with you any longer than they want to stay with you. They are not going to do the business for your reasons. They're going to do the business for their reasons. They're going to do the business when they want to. They're going to do the business when they have the personal motivation to do the business. And that is when the business starts to make sense. So they're going to quit. So we're going to take advantage of the fact that we have created an environment where they may know they've quit, but we're not going to know they quit, because in our eyes, you never quit. Unless you tell us that you want out of the organization and we get into the computer and erase you from the computer, once you are an error restore person, you're always an error restore person. And so that business that you have is always there. And when people come back, that gets to be the point where we start to talk about a residual. Ken and Mary, when you guys have been talking about holding on to people because you built big organizations in the past, do they not quit?
Oh, absolutely, and they quit for their reason. Life happens, and things come up, and that's just part of it. It's like my daddy used to say. He says almost always people have problems. Problems exist, and you go from one to the next to the next. The fact is that you can come back to this one anytime you choose to, and you never forget that mailbox money, like Laurie was shaking her head on a while ago, and I don't care, what people say. That's exciting when you go to the post office or you get your mailbox money in your mailbox or whatever. It's real.
I just really feel like I have to, and Bill, you can plug up your ears here if you want to. We have been members of organizations in the past, and we're not MLM fleas or anything at all like that. There's a massive difference in working in an organization that sends you a free system at your performance, and performance is everything. You perform what you're supposed to perform and you're rewarded for it. But there's a vast difference in somebody collecting, say, $35 a year on dues and $20 a month on your website fees and all of these things, and the profits that roll up build mansions and exotic animals and race cars and airplanes and the people at the bottom out here in the field that are doing the work are not really being rewarded, but somebody is. And that's the difference in this company. And I'm going to say this right out loud in front of God and everybody. Bill Converse, I trust you. And Cher Weinrout, I trust you. Cher, we've been friends for a long time and good buds. And there's a vast difference, and I think everybody will agree with this. There's a vast difference in the people who are doing the work being rewarded, and the inventor and the founder looking out and saying, this is my accomplishment. I've helped you and you and you and you. I've helped you do. That's a ministry, guys. That's a ministry, isn't it?
You know, we have a thing at our church. The statement of purpose is to reach, teach, and help people in Jesus' name. And, you know, we've realized over the years that if you reach, teach, and help people develop income, they'll trust you for anything else. And so it truly is a ministry. We got Mickey Anderson is on the phone line, and
I think he's on Zoom.
Well, he may be, but Mickey is just getting started in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, Bill, and he is totally committed to the 3x3 in the month of April.
Good.
He's got one of his partners on there that's Newfawn is his name, and he's committed to helping Newfawn get his 3x3. Now, once they've done it, they're hooked.
Oh yeah.
And you know, therein lies the residual, because once they've done it, they know they can go back and do it again.
Well, I will tell you that there is a hooked thing. I sometimes feel like a drug pusher because I know what's going to happen here. But I want to just talk about something that we've not really talked very much about the importance of this marketing plan, the ultimate reward. You know, we changed the marketing plan a little bit to change the structure to compensate for the changes that we're seeing in the organization from the 3x3. This was the first month that we've really had the 3x3 go into full effect. And because we grandfathered everybody in, now people are starting to realize, I'm not so sure I want to be grandfathered. I really want to, even if I am grandfathered, I'm not going to care anymore, because there is a better way to do this business so that you don't have to protect yourself. You build the kinds of things in that are going to provide the kinds of incomes that you need, so nobody ever needs to worry about being grandfathered. But we always do that because it's the right thing to do, because once you start with a plan, you don't change it. You give people the opportunity to look ahead and move ahead. But I want to talk about this residual concept some more that we started talking about. What we talked about is the excitement, the fact that people can continue to go back and do the business. And I just want to put back up now something that I put back up to show people how important it is that this thing is going, that this residual, I got to get it. Here we go. So I just want to walk you through this. I'm telling people right now, if I were starting out in the business, I would try to get to sales manager as quickly as I could by building a 3x3. Worst case, it may take you 2 months. Best case, it's going to take you 1 month. You can get to be sales manager, but in this organization, getting to sales manager is the start. It's not the end. It's not the ultimate goal. It's easy by comparison to all other plans that I've seen to get to the top position, but that's the place that you start working it. So what is the goal? How would I continue to work it? Well, once you do a 3x3 and once you get to that first step and you now reach sales manager, you continue to do that. Next month, I want you to build another 3x3. Next month, I want you to build another 3x3. Even if you're a sales manager, even if you're a master sales manager, I want you to build a 3x3. I want it to get as so reflexive. It's the same thing as saying we restore the energy back into the air to make indoor air act like outdoor air. I want it to be the gut way that we build a business. Now, here's why. You do it for 12 months, and here's what I will guarantee you. If you do this for 12 months, here's what's going to happen. You will have 40 people each month. Now, those people are not going to be active, but you will have a minimum of 480 people in your open group. That's only going down 3 levels. That's not counting the people that are going down 4, 5, 6, 7 levels. You're only going to get 3 that get 3 that get 3. The next month you get 3 that get 3 that get 3. And they'll take care of building on their own. But just say nobody does that past the 3. And here's what's going to happen. You're going to have 480 people in your open group. Okay? Now, there's a 5% R. Okay, what's an R? Automatic. It's the automatic residual. I'm sorry, the automatic. I forgot what it was.
Oh, what was it? Automatic residual rule.
No,
No.
it's
It's going to be the people that keep participating.
yeah. It's I'll tell you what. It's the automatic. It's the automatic restart. It's the automatic recovery system. It's going to be the re-engaging system. And I'll remember what it was in just a minute. But here's the thing. 5% of the people that are in your organization, actually it turns out between 5 and 10% of the people in your group are going to go back, and they are going to, for their own reasons, start up and do something. They are going to start up because they blew the engine in their car, because they had a medical bill, because they spent too much money for Christmas, and they've got that business there. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to get inventory. They don't have to do anything. They just have to start doing the business. They don't have to get our permission, your permission. They don't have to get anybody's permission. The business is there, and they've had this wonderful experience where they've actually made money right away. And all of a sudden, if I need to get $150 or $370 or $1,000, I can go back and start doing my business. And all I got to do is start going out and recruiting some people in it, and my checks start coming. That magic, that excitement is going to go there. So you're going to get 24 new members in your organization that you had nothing to do with, just because you're going to have 5% of your people start in any given month. That's 24 whole house systems that you're going to get for PV. Now, the other thing that's in there is what I call the R3 effect. The R3 effect says people are not going to get in and do it for one system. They're going to do it for 3 systems. Because after you've done it for one and you've done it for the second one, you have to be dumb as a brick not to do it for the third one, because the reward is so high in getting it there. So that means that automatically, by the fact that they've had a good experience and they're working for a company that treats them right and does all those kinds of things, you're going to gain 72 new members every single month. 72 whole house systems. So what does that amount to for your volume as a sales manager? You think there's no residual here? You get 140 PV for each one of those new members that comes in, because that's a whole house system. You multiply that times the 72 that you've got. That's 10,800 PV share. How much is the minimum requirement to maintain a sales manager's position and get a bonus check?
10,000 PV.
So if you're getting 10,000 PV a month from your residual, not going out and doing anything else, you're automatically qualified. And I have to tell you that we've got some changes in the place that are going to reduce that qualification, but it's not going to make any difference, because if you do this plan and do it this way, it's going to come automatic. So what does that mean for residual income? Residual income, 10,800 PV times 30%. Why do I say 30%? As sales manager, you get 20% of the PV. But remember, most of these people that quit are not even distributors. Those are the dealers, senior dealers, master dealers. Those are the core. That's the army of people that you've got out there that start. And so you're going to get, almost always, you're going to get the distributor portion of the commission, because it rolls up, as well as your own. That's a 30% of that PV is going to come at $3,240 a month residual. That doesn't count any business that's done retail. That doesn't count any business that you've done by building your business so that you're getting commissions on recruiting people new into the business. These are just things that are happening because somebody needed money and wanted to be able to get back, and the automatic reactivation that is going to take place. Now, before you turn up your nose at $3,200 a month, which, by the way, is just residual, let me show you what that really means. All right, now you're a sales manager, and I'm going to assume that what you have done is you have now broken off your first sales manager, your second sales managers, and the third sales managers, so that now you have a 3x3 of sales managers. How hard is it to do that? If you taught the people right, you will get 3x3, and you will have many, many more than that, because you should be creating a sales manager a month, if you're a sales manager, by doing a 3x3 in your group, at least one every other month, which means you should have 6 of them first generation to you. But look at what look what happens to the numbers. because now you've built a 3x3 sales manager group. All the groups are going to build a 3x3 themselves. They're going to have a 5% R open group volume, which is 10,000 volume. That means every one of your sales managers is going to have 10,000 volume as well if they've been able to do that. Well, look at what the math is. The math says you're getting from your own open group 3,200, which you just turned your nose up at. Your first generation group is going to provide another 2,500. Your second generation group is going to provide another 3,800, almost 4,000. Your third level is going to provide almost 6,000. That's $15,000 income. Okay? $15,000 income residual per month. Okay, you're automatically qualified. If you got in this business and you worked this business hard and built your 3x3 for 12 consecutive months, you would automatically inside your group have enough to be qualified, even if we didn't provide any additional bonuses in the future to reduce that number. You'd be qualified for every month, and in addition to which, you get a check for $15,552 minimum. I don't know, Ken. Would you care to extrapolate how much money you have to have in the bank to produce a $15,000 a month check?
You know, that's better than Social Security right there, Bill. to have a $15,000, well, first of all, the numbers are all skewed, because if you put it in the bank, before long you got to pay them to hold it for you. But let's say that you get 1.5% on along what they call a jumbo CD, so to speak. In order to get $15,000 a month, you got to have $10 million in the bank.
Yeah.
It just isn't going to happen. I mean, it's just not going to happen.
But do you realize that you can actually reach this level in a year? I mean, stop and think about how many things I have not said. This assumes that you only built one 3x3, and each of them only built one 3x3. And we're not talking about growth. We're not talking about people doing retailing. We're just talking about here is the residual. And next year, your group will not be 480 people, because you're going to grow at 70 some a month. You're going to have closer to 700 people in your group. So your residual is going to grow. Your second year residual is probably going to be twice that amount. And that's going to depend on several things happening. Number one, company has to stay alive. You know, it has to be real. It can't be just imaginary. It can't be smoke and mirrors. So do you think that the company can actually do this? Well,
Bill, the keys to any business has nothing to do with relationship marketing. It has to do with business. And one of the keys is the company solvent, of course. Secondly, is there a market for our products? You know, we talk all the time about the fact that there were over 25 million of your old products and the generations after those that have been marketed. And we need to understand that in the marketing cycle, it takes 5% or 95% of the time and effort to reach the first 5% of the market. We did that. So that means that the 95% of the market is still out there. Now, is it going to run out? As long as there are people and long as there are problems, we're going to continue to have a market for these products based on this price point. And so, yeah, the company, of course, basically has survived the hardest part, which is the startup. And now it's a matter of managing the inventory and the production and that sort of thing, which I'm glad you're doing and we're not having to.
I got some very good help. But
yeah, you brought Mark on, didn't you?
Yeah, I surely did. And, part of the thing is you got to realize what our goal is here. To see whether test this for reality is what I always call it. I always like to take a look at what somebody says they're going to do, and I try to say to myself, how many pills do I actually have to sell? How many things do I have to do? What's the reality really? Well, if you've got a dead-end company that is essentially buying a product and trying to market it through a marketing plan, or you're doing a money-flipping game like some of the new games out there with the telephone systems and with the bitcoins and with all the distractions that are out there that have no basis in reality whatsoever, you've got a real problem, because you've got a short time, because there is no long-term kind of thing that's going to happen. But take a look at what here. We invent our own product. We manufacture our own product. We are not bound by what some other company wants to produce for us. We are not bound by anything other than our own imaginations, our own God-given visions about what the world needs. In 2 years, when we have accomplished the mission that we have set forth, that said that we're going to sell 2 million systems in the next months, which, by the way, we are on track for doing, that's not the end. That's the start. Yeah. See, because once you get to that point, now the whole world opens up for you, because you now own this piece. And with the new products that Mark and I are working on, with the new visions that we have for where we're going to go with the product, then a residual really means something. Can you imagine what's going to happen when you have 1,000 people in your open group? You have 1,000 people there, and you're getting your 5%, and you're chugging along at only getting $15,000 a month, and we introduce the next new product that is essentially going to obsolete the product that we have, because it will be so mind blowing that it's going to be that different. What's going to happen to that 1,000 people that you've got? You think you're going to stay at 5% residual, or do you think you're going to have another explosion? See, that's the beautiful thing about creating a business, where the business itself is the residual, where the experience that the people that are in the business, that experience that they have, gets so critical, because that's where your value is. It's the people. It's not the product. It's not people consuming product that they don't want. It's not forcing people to take auto ships. It's about creating an environment that allow people to use their own skills, their own excitement, and to build. And as you were talking about earlier, to have a sense of mission, because what can you do with a mission when you finally reach that kind of income and can help somebody else? What can you really do with it? How big can our mission be? And so that's why I say, the people that take a look and say, but you're not you don't have a consumable, you don't have any residual. I'm saying, you haven't thought it out. You haven't experienced it, because this residual is actually far, far bigger than any other residual I've ever seen out there.
How many companies do you know that are having a 30% growth rate?
Exactly. You realize that since we introduced the first changes in the marketing plan with the mailbox money and people starting to do the 3x3, that we have grown 10 times? 10 times? You realize that that's only since last June? You realize we're now on a 30% growth curve, which is now accelerating, because this month, for the first time, the people are going to see, with the changes that we instituted in the last couple months, where we changed the qualifications to sales manager so that people can really build solid organizations, that for the first time we're starting to see bonus checks start to really, really skyrocket in the in-between levels, where the people used to be kind of dead. They get to be sales manager and then nothing would happen. Now it's happening. Now they're starting to grow in those intermediate levels, and that bodes so well for our organization.
Well, also the fact that in every startup operation, it takes a while to start up, and so it takes a lot of effort and energy and a lot of money to start up. And Bill, would I be wrong to say that this is where we are right now? We have started up.
Oh yeah, barely. Somebody was saying they were on the first rung of the ladder, and I was telling them, no, you're not. You just now are stepping for the first rung.
That's right. Everybody's looking for a ground floor opportunity. We hadn't got there yet.
And I'm so proud of the sales managers that we do have, because most of the people that we have that are working, in these early stages, we go through ups and downs. We always are trying to guess 2 or 3 months ahead of time how much volume we're going to have to do, so we know how much product to make. There are unending problems that just keep going and going and going. But what really finally boils down to is the fact that that we are getting out. The people that are in right now are perhaps seeing vision more than they're seeing the numbers in their paycheck. And the people that are seeing vision, the people that are seeing where this is going to go, the people that are willing to put in the money, the people that get past the idea that a 3x3 is hard work and accept it as the new norm, the people that accept that once you do one, the second one's going to be far easier because now you know how to do it, and the third one and the fourth one, and that the fact that in a short period of time, we're going to do what it took us 10, 12 years to do back in the old company. In 2 years, that we will have another super class of people, but we're going to have 25,000 sales managers that are going to become our new middle class. This company can do more for making a middle class of people that are earning $100,000 a year than any other thing that I can think of out there. And in this day and age, when you're talking about is it good as bonds or is it as good as whatever can be out there, forget about it. Having a business, having something that you have control over, being able to contribute to the success is where you get the security that you need. And I realize that I've kind of gotten up to the end of the hour, and I'm sorry I get excited, but I do get excited. And it's because I know where we're going to go. I know God's got his hand in this thing 100% of the way. And I know that when we've created the environment that respects individual people and respects the job that they do and rewards them accordingly and gives them the opportunity to have the freedom that they need to have to live the life they want to have and to still have the reality that we need to have, I think that there is no bottom to our upside, that we can make this thing as big. These papers that I've just put are going to be on the website. I'm sending them to Mark and Eric right off as we get off this call tonight. They're going to be valuable. I want you to take a look at them. I want you to take a look at this residual income. Remember the numbers that Ken gave you. Sheriff, you got anything you'd like to add?
The future is very, very bright. And if you saw me doing this before, that was my crystal ball interpretation.
Okay.
And it's hard, I know, Bill, for you to have your crystal ball working, to know what you need to provide for us for the future. But you better get one with the plug, okay?
All right. Okay. I'll do that.
Because it's very exciting, I think, what's starting to happen. And you know, all of our hopes and dreams are finally coming to fruition. And I think the information you shared with us this morning is a real eye-opener. And please let us know what R means.
I will think of it in a second. It was when I thought of it, it was brilliant, and I've lost track of it right now.
When you first told me, I said, oh, it sounds like a pirate. So, you know,
yeah.
calling you Captain Bill?
Oh, I know what it is. It's the automatic reactivation rate.
There you go.
All right.
Okay, this call has been recorded. I'm going to convert it into an MP4 when I'm done, and it will be on your back office area wherever we store the art. And if not, I will be able to get them out to people. There will be a webinar call every Saturday. There will be eventually 2 of them. There will be a 9 o'clock one on the Central Time, and there'll be a 9 o'clock one on Pacific Time, so that we can get our West Coasters up, being awake enough to be able to hear what's going on. So that's going to be the schedule of them, and we'll get them better as we go along, and we'll get some more participants. Thank you, Cher. Thank you, Ken. God bless everybody on this call. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill, for your leadership, buddy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.